Have you ever fallen in love with a game at first play, knowing that at the first time you turned the game on, that you would be in love with the game forever? That wasn't Monster Hunter. I hated Monster Hunter when I picked it up the first time. I remember it like it was yesterday. I picked up Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PSP because the internet said it was good. And I saw the trailer, man. The trailer with the Tigrex was so awesome. I figured, man, we're on some Bayonetta stuff. We're just bringing down God Beasts to their knees. But then you get dropped in this. What is this? What is this? A town in the Alps? Not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. But you get no explanation what to do. You're just dropped right in and do whatever. Then you're immediately told to slay 3 Popo. Then you get dropped in this damn hillside, like, and what is with this weapon? What is? Damn it, slow us. What happened to the Devil May Cry dream? This isn't Devil May Cry. This isn't Bayonetta. What the hell, Capcom? What the hell is a Popo? Everything is fast. I can't hit anything. Is this a Popo? Is this a Popo? I've killed all the things. Where's my medal? There's a ledge there. How the heck do I Well, as you can tell, the first date didn't go as well. I put the game down and forgot about it. A certain amount of time passed by and I went to college. And it wasn't until I met people who made it way further than me that I started to get it. Carl and Frenchie, shout out. I literally saw this dude, Carl, manhandle a giant fortress destroying dragon, and I was like, I want to be that. I want to be that. I want to be that. But how do I get there? From there, I understood that Monster Hunter was not like any other game that I've played at that point. It wasn't a game where you just drop in, mash a single button, and finish the game. Nah, it wasn't going to be that. It was going to be a rite of passage. A lot of learning and understanding a whole world of things that I didn't understand. It was like learning a whole new language, man. Monster Hunter was almost like, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, like a real hunter's journey. Imagine being a teenager from the Ice Age. You're being raised by your single mom. You want to be a hunter just like your dad, who was killed by a legendary beast called the Smilodon. I can't say that. First off, Smilodon. Who names stuff like that? Sounds so dumb. Smilodon. Saber-toothed tiger. There were no pictures of the saber-toothed tiger. Only tales of how ferocious it is from the hunters who survived. Over time, you learn how to use a spear and a bow and how to read tracks until you finally come across the one who bested your dad. Man versus beast. Monster versus hunter. Monster Hunter. Roll credits, man. To put it simply, Monster Hunter in its essence isn't really that hard to understand. You take down monsters, you use their parts to make weapon and armor to take down progressively more difficult monsters. These monsters are big and towering, and they're stronger than you. You get run over because, no, you're not this immortal being who can mash your way out of things. You need to use your wits and reflexes and knowledge to hunt them down. These monsters don't have any life bar, and they don't even show up on your map either. So it's really up to you to track them, know where they are, learn their tells, what they're weak to, know when to strike and when to retreat. But before you even get to the big and amazing monster battles, you need to build up a library of knowledge. How to use your weapon, how to use your items, how to combine them. And for older players, it's easy for us to understand that a sap plant can combine with a stone to make a bomb casing, then with a tranquilizer to build a tranq bomb that you need to throw when the monster is trapped, but not before it is weakened, okay? Okay, that's a standard thing that we're used to. But back in the day, we didn't really have that information for us in-game. And even if it was probably told through the least intuitive way, through dialogue obscured by 1,000 other things we needed to remember. It eventually got better the more we played. Maybe it didn't, and I just became accustomed to it. I don't know. You know how I learned how Monster Hunter worked? By calling my friends in the middle of the night, probably studying for midterms, asking them ways I could beat a stupid giant ape, writing it down on my notebook, and pulling my hair every time that Donkey Kong flattens me in one hit.
Right? We've talked about this before. It's fucking 3 a.m. Oh my god.
And that was only the first boss.
Whether or not this game was meant to be played by exchanging information with other people, the fact that it did helped it a lot, turning it into this cult hit in the earlier years.
Remember Pokemon? Sure. More specifically, remember Pokemon rumors tossed around in the playground? Remember when people thought Mew was under the truck? Remember when rumors of a Peekaboo came out? Remember Whitehand? Do you remember Doomsday? These were things that were passed around in the playground, creating urban legends and buzz around the community. And when the kids gathered, they all traded and exchanged rumors, and everybody got excited for the game because nobody really knew how video games and game development work. And there was no internet. Monster Hunter reminded me of that time, where we picked up rumors and tips as we played together. It was a community thing. We found things out, we helped each other, we brainstormed combos. The internet wasn't an end-all be-all resource yet, so every single new monster that we faced was a surprise. We didn't have guides, nor did we have strategies. A lot of our knowledge was passed around from more experienced hunters to the new ones. You know what? Now I think about it, Monster Hunter did intend for it to be a game about community. Because you know what? They never market their final bosses. Their final bosses are the most dangerous looking, imposing, badass MFers. But the ones that they put on their cover, on their cartridge or CD cover, are scary to be fair. But they function more like mid-bosses. They don't even touch the surface of what the bigger monsters do. And as you play more and more, you find out what they are. But you only hear rumors about them through the more experienced hunters. You don't really get flat out pictures of them. They don't market them. They don't put them in previews and trailers. Which I kinda really admire, man. Monster Hunter shows this trust in their initial monster designs, that their surface level monsters are already good enough to market to the players. That when the players come in and play the game more, they're treated to even cooler monster designs and bigger levels. When they thought that, oh, the one on the cover was the best thing, it was the final boss. No, it's not. It's just the mid-boss. The better ones are in the game. And I really admire Capcom for doing this because, you know, with the advent of the internet and people pushing things to trailers just to market their games, no more surprises. Just, hey, here's all the starter evolutions. No more designs. No more imagining what they are in your head. It's just out there already. You can search them. And Monster Hunter does so much because they don't reveal their better designs. And everyone was playing this game, man. Everyone. In college, I found people to play with. Even after that, at work, I found people to play with, even in HR and my boss. I remember biking up this huge-ass hill just to play Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate with my friend Mary. Just sitting around hunting Brachydios and Deviljos and, you know, and when online was available for portables, you best believe we were on there, and we had new friends pop up like Jerry and JC and everybody else. Monster Hunter had this sense of community to it, and it was such a pleasure coming in as a newbie, then playing it at the same level as everybody else, until I had to, eventually raise my own Fiverr, basically a newbie at launch of Monster Hunter World. It was great. Monster Hunter has become this thing that I've played through the ages and almost half my life already, and has been so consistent in my life, and it has been getting better and better and better. Unlike another beloved game series that has gone worse and worse as the time has gone on. So right now I want to move on from that, and I want to talk about what's great about the world of Monster Hunter. The world of Monster Hunter is different, man. It's almost like its own character. If I were to describe it in one word, I'd call it believable. Believable meaning you're not given concepts that will feel awkward and out of place. Believable in that when you play through this massive world, you'll find creatures and elements and you'll say, yeah, that makes sense. Let me draw a comparison to another fictional game world, which says something about how close these games are in comparison, more than we think. I don't know, we have to think about that more. But, for example, in Pokemon, there's so much inconsistency in how they built the world. See, nobody really knows how Pokeballs work, and, describing Pikachu as a mouse Pokemon even though animals don't exist in the Pokemon world, or do they? Still don't know which canon to believe. And why kids in the world leave to get beat up by gangs, as well as fight the creators of the universe, and capture them and enslave them for some reason? I don't know. To clarify, not having clear design reasoning doesn't ruin the experience for me, and I don't think it's bad. Games are about the game itself, after all. No one's really out to nitpick the design as long as the game makes sense. And maybe making the lore make sense in the game isn't the most priority in making these games, so we really can't critique the game just based off art direction alone. But come on, are those Speedos part of his skin? Is that sweatshirt part of his skin? I don't know, and at this point I don't really care. However, in Monster Hunter's case, there was a certain level of care placed in making the world feel like it could exist. I mean, it could have been very easy to pin it down to, it's magic, or it's a game, and leave it up to the imagination of the players, but the designers decided that this will be a very tangible world that draws a lot of similarities to our natural world. And something about that is really charming, and it makes for a really immersive experience through the logic and science of the game world that we can understand. For example, this is a gargoyle, and they are harmless bird wyverns, but apparently their favorite meal is the thunderbug, because they have a rubbery bill that can insulate the electric shock given by these bugs. Now this is a Zinogre. It's a lightning wolf. It calls upon electricity to strike down its enemies. It also imbues its body with electricity, powering up its claws and fur to give you quite a shock. But why? Why does it have electricity though? Because it eats Gargoyle who ate thunderbugs, which eventually led to the beast developing immunity to electricity. So the thunderbugs gather around it to produce this symbiotic relationship where they imbue the Zinogre with lightning attacks. At the same time, the Zinogre can protect the bugs from the endemic life that want to kill it. The designers went as far as going to a national park in Chile to observe animal behavior, and from observing condors of all things, they determined that the apex animals, the ones who sit atop the food chain, live in the highest parts of certain biomes, which can be seen in the way that they implement the map layouts. The Rathalos and the Rathian sit atop the ancient forest as they are the dominant species. The Rathian is the female who stays low on the ground because it protects the eggs,
and Rathalos is the male who flies around and hunts. It just makes sense. In place of a story, like standard RPGs, you just have these fully fleshed out creatures with their own nature and habits, and just, man, let's move on. I love this game so much. I've been talking so much about the monsters, but most of the experience of this game is seen through the eyes of a hunter. So, to round off the complete experience, there was an equal amount of effort to illustrate the lives of these hunters, where they lived, how they lived, the cultures of the villages, and how they interact with nature and the monsters. And boy, diverse these villages were. There are villages in the Alps whose lives center around mining. That's why they need protection from the monsters in the ridge. There's a coastal village who live by fishing and of course need protection from the great leviathans. Villages in the New World where it's just unexplored, so you're basically treading new ground, and when the tribe asks you to explore, you establish a new territory. And there's a nice grandma cat cooking. Excuse me, what? You heard what I said. A nice grandma cat cooking. Let me show you. I'm getting really hungry. It's also worth noting that the humans don't see monsters as an enemy to kill. It's not a moral thing. There's no bad guy and good guy. These monsters are part of nature, and sometimes they are a danger to the creatures living around the area. Kinda like if an invasive species population grew out of control. The humans are part of the food chain just like the monsters are, and there's this beauty in the reality of how that's portrayed, while not being morbid about it and parading around a kill with unnecessary gore. You know what I mean. The respect for nature in this game can be summed up in the way they portray the Hunter's Guild symbol. A symbol that's present throughout Monster Hunter, and there's a meaning to it that people may not even know about, because it's barely talked about. GaijinHunter did a whole video about explaining what the symbol means and the quadrants, so if you want to learn more about what that means, please check out his video, but in summary, it goes something like this. It's kinda crazy beautiful how much respect and reverence the people of this world give nature, but at the same time use nature to keep on, living and progressing. It kind of gives a little bit of a juxtaposition to how we live as people as well. It makes you think, It's a great game. Now, the music in all the games are amazing. It just makes the game so much more vibrant and colorful. The composers have this ability to put you in a place, as well as let you experience the tension and personality of a monster. Now, if you listen closely to these pieces of music, you'll just be transported to where these geniuses intended you to be. So, let's do that. Now, if you close your eyes and listen, don't you just see the Alps, the hills, the cool winter breeze of the snowy mountains of Poke Village? Yeah. Now, if I change the music, don't you see a busy coastal town filled with traders stocking, fishermen selling the catch of the day? That's Moga Village, guys. Monster Hunter 3. Now travel up the mountain tops, where the cloud meets the earth, and listen to the theme of the village hidden way up there. This is Cathar Village, or Cathar, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Now we're moving on to fighting monsters now. And can you feel that? That rumbling in the air. It does sound like a very threatening airborne monster, doesn't it? It sounds like a World War II bomber, doesn't it? Yes, it's the bomber monster, the basil juice. Then, the Japanese-themed Leviathan, Mizitsune, gliding through the water. It does sound very Japanese, doesn't it? Then, the pounding, the otherworldly choir, the theme of the ancient god, Ceadeus. This boss fight was crazy, man. This big ass Leviathan underwater keeps ramming its head under the mountain, which causes earthquakes and tsunamis. So that's why we have to stop it. So it's time for me to stop gushing, and now let's try to get y'all to play this game. So, what is the game you should be playing in this series? You would think that the best Monster Hunter experience would be to pick the latest one, because it has the best everything. You know, best graphics and all that. But that isn't remotely true, in my opinion. See, each game in the library in the series has its own purpose, its own spirit, and no games were ever the same. Monster Hunter 1 introduced everybody to the franchise, it's very raw. Freedom introduced portability and playing with friends anywhere. Portable Third, Yukumo Village, bathhouses, Japanese themed, what else could you need? Monster Hunter 3, which introduced swimming, and introduced this 8-directional gameplay that you could do while hunting these large leviathans under the sea, introducing series favorites like the giant pickle Devil Joe, electric cobra fish Lagiacrus, punchy snotman Brachydios, introducing a better narrative that made Chacha and Kayamba as your boys. Then, Monster Hunter 4 does something new again, introducing verticality, and then adding new monster types like the spiders and the climbing monkeys, as well as the freaking emo goth chick Gormagala, whose armor is pretty awesome. And then you have Generations Ultimate, man. It's the all-stars. It's the all-you-can-eat buffet of Monster Hunter. All the most popular monsters is in this game, and then added to that, a whole new layer of fluidity with hunter arts and styles. My god, this game is so awesome. Plus, with the added bonus of it being campy as heck, this game will not disappoint you at all. And then lastly, we have Monster Hunter World, which is the most gorgeous Monster Hunter to date. It would be what Monster Hunter fans would have thought of back in the day when we all had those hardware limitations. Now, the hardware limitations, the training weights are off. This is what peak Monster Hunter looks like. It's got new revamped mechanics, all our favorite monsters in glorious HD, has a seamless, continuous flowing world, more realistic monsters, more realistic behavior. My god, man, we have reached peak Monster Hunter in terms of reality and immersion, and all the Monster Hunter games going forward will be based on the groundwork that Monster Hunter World made for us. So as you can see, all Monster Hunter games are made different with a different kind of charm and spirit to it, and I could still pop into any of these games and have a blast. So it's really up to you on what your flavor is at the time. As a personal recommendation, if you've never played any Monster Hunter before, then World is a nice starting point because, you know, the quality of life changes and it's the gameplay style moving forward now. It's on the latest systems and on PC, so you don't have to go out of your way to find these systems, you know. You still need to do your own bit of research when you're playing. It's not as obscure as before, though. They really wanted World to have this far-reaching mainstream appeal. So how they ease you into this game is more tolerable than the older games. Now, if you're looking for monster variety and more traditional Monster Hunter, look no further than Generations Ultimate, man. It has the biggest roster of monsters ever, all the weapons except Medium Bogan, RIP, and added features that'll make hunting more approachable, like the hunter arts and styles, and man, it's still so good. As an honorable mention, I'd like to bring your attention to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, but since it's on the 3DS, it's probably, you know, hard to get your hands on one right now because the 3DS has been out of commission. But it was one of the best Monster Hunter games ever, in some ways a little bit superior to Generations. But the fact that you can have your go at Generations in the latest system on Switch right now, that's why Generations is marked higher a little bit than Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. At this point in time, Monster Hunter Rise isn't out yet. Who knows what kind of game it'll be? People who've seen it in action say it's a little bit of a bridge between the old and the new generations. That UI looking like classic Monster Hunter, and that is sweet. All I know is I'm trying to get ready come March. I'm so ready for Monster Hunter Rise, guys, and I can't wait to see y'all all there. So I hope this video helped illustrate why Monster Hunter has remained my favorite game franchise of all time, as well as why it's a very important franchise in today's gaming landscape for just how consistent it has been throughout the years. It hasn't fallen off even a little bit. While many other game franchises have been popular and then fallen off and then, you know, maybe hit a little stride here and there, Monster Hunter hasn't had a falling off ever. It has remained good for what it's worth. Out of all the game franchises in the world, I don't think Monster Hunter has ever had something of a low point. It's just because of how the DNA of this game works. It's just so simple of a concept, but built around such strong and solid foundations. So I do hope you give these games a chance on whatever systems they come out in. Rise, or maybe you want to try older games like Generations, all of them are really good. And man, even if you don't think so, even if you're looking at me with those cynical eyes and say, it's not really that good, that's fine. You don't have to agree with everything I have to say. That's fine too. But at least I hope you understand my perspective on why I think it is. And, you know, I hope someday that you'll find a game that will make you feel like I do about Monster Hunter, man. Because when you feel this good about something, when you really love a piece of IP that much, it just lifts you up and just brightens your day up, especially when something new comes out and you just really get into it. So there it is. That's my video. Thanks for watching, guys. That's my first foray into long form content. I hope you liked it. I think I liked it too. I came away with it. You know, there's some things
that I can improve on, but oh my god, I really had fun doing this. I didn't know it would take this long, but yeah. If you aren't subscribed and you've made it, this far, please do, because I'm trying to grow this channel. I have a lot more content to give y'all. Talking about games, more long form content, talking about games that I want to recommend y'all, as well as shorter vids, where I talk about life or just trying to get a general laugh out of everybody, if you're all into that. So, if you like that stuff and you like this one specifically, then do give us a sub. We'll, I promise to make this channel better for y'all and make more cool ass videos. So, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for spending your little time of the day with me. So, yeah. Have a great day. Have a good one. See y'all on the next Red Time. Peace. I really like that cooking cat grandma lady. Let's do that one more time.